Hey everyone, in today's video I'm going to be discussing the first module I did at Blanche Macdonald, which is Makeup Fundamentals. So first of all, I'm going to just say that when you enter Blanche Macdonald, they take you as a student with no prior knowledge. So Makeup Fundamentals for me was pretty much just reviewing what I already knew. But having said that, I did learn a lot of things. If you want to see the makeup kit that we were given for Makeup Fundamentals, I will put a link right here and you can click it and go see. So Makeup Fundamentals was a 6-week course. My professor was really awesome and really amazing. She had a lot of experience and it was really nice to see someone who had gone out in the field and then come back and teach us all of her little tricks and stuff. I went to school Monday, Tuesday, and half of Wednesday. So Monday and Tuesday 9 to 5 and then half of Wednesday 9 to 1. I did go to the City Square campus. That is where the Global Makeup Artistry Program is held, but sometimes we also did go to Curlicue for special days. My class was really small. We started out with, I believe, 12 people and now we're down to 7, so it's really shrunk down. In my class right now, left is myself, my friend Ksenia, who I went to university with, and then 5 other people. 4 of them are international, they are from Asia, so we do have a little bit of diversity in our class. So in Makeup Fundamentals, you do have a midterm written, a midterm practical, a written final, and a final practical. When you leave Makeup Fundamentals, you are given the tools and the knowledge to be able to do day makeup, bridal makeup, and evening makeup. So essentially you can go and start freelancing after you finish Makeup Fundamentals. I will be inserting photos of the work that I did. We first started off with learning face shapes, eye shapes, lip shapes, how to contour in order to create the perfect ideal face shape, which is oval. I do have an oval face shape, so the whole point of contouring and stuff is to get the ideal face shape. So we covered that stuff. A lot of it was color theory, you know, learning how to color match people with foundations, learning about undertones and different skin tones and how to figure out if you're a summer, winter, fall, or spring. I'm a winter, obviously, because I have very dark skin and very dark hair and very pale skin. A lot of the class was just trying to find perfect shades for people and trying to find out what works for them and what colors complement them and, you know, what shade of lip to do with what makeup and stuff like that. A lot of color theory. We then learned basic makeup skills like putting a wash color over the lid, putting a color into the crease, doing a feature color, what order to put it on, when is appropriate to put cream foundation or liquid foundation, water-based, gel-based. We also did learn a lot about product, the difference between like I said, gel foundation, water-based foundation, oil-based foundation, different products like that. We learned what skin type to put them on, what to do to prep the skin in order to apply foundation. It's our job to moisturize, tone, cleanse, all that before we apply makeup. It's our job for the skin to look flawless before we apply the makeup to our clients. For our midterm practical, we did have to do a day look and then an evening look. I will insert the photos of my day look and my evening look. We are required to find models. Fortunately enough, I am in school with someone I went to university with, Ksenia, so often we are each other's partners. I really like doing her makeup. She really likes doing my makeup. We're always there for each other. It works out great for us. For the midterm, it was pretty much everything, all of our notes that we went over. Coming from a university background and have already been to college also, I know how to study and I know what works for me, but it's pretty much everything you learn in theory you have to apply to makeup. So if you don't know it in theory, your makeup's not going to turn out well because you clearly don't know it. So the final written is mostly just to prove that you have the skill and knowledge to be able to apply it to a makeup. So don't be intimidated by a test because it's written. It's just like common sense knowledge type of things. I believe I got 98% on my written test. I forgot to draw on the color wheel what side was warm and which side was cool. I just didn't read the question right. We did have a fantasy day in Makeup Fundamentals and you could just create any look that you wanted to. I created sort of like a doll type look. I'll insert a photo. It was really fun and I really enjoyed that. I'm more of like a creative type like that, so having a fantasy day was more up my alley because it was something for me to branch out on. My instructor did kind of catch on that I pretty much knew, you know, I knew the ropes of Makeup Fundamentals, so she kind of let me go above and beyond everybody else. Not like knowledgeably so, but we kind of just, it was like understood that I kind of went a little bit above and beyond. We did have a mature model day where mature in the beauty world is considered 25 and over. I brought my friend Alex, she's almost 24, so pretty lenient with that, but that was a really fun day. We went down to Curly Q. So speaking of mature models, we also did learn different textures of different skin and different eyelids and lips and what type of products to put on there. Pretty much anything you can imagine that has to do with makeup we learned about, you know, not to put like shimmery shadows on, like shimmery shadows which enhance the texture on a really, sorry about that. I don't really remember where I left off, but I'll just continue. I believe I talked about the midterm. Don't worry about it just because it's a written test. Don't be fearful of that. Carrying on, yeah, we did have a mature makeup model day, going down to Curly Q, all of that fun stuff. For the final, we did have a written also, and that was cumulative, so that means that it was on all of the information we learned in the class. How the class was set up is in the morning we would do a little bit of theory and then we would work on each other. We would pair up with each other in the class. So be aware, I know some people in my class don't like being models, but you're entering beauty school. You're gonna be models for people, you know, people have to work on other people, so expect to be a model, expect to have makeup on. It may not be what like you like and how you do it, but be prepared to sit down and be models for people. So for our final written, it was easy. I think I got 97% on it, or yeah, I believe I got 97. For the final practical, we did another day look and then a more evening look. I will also insert pictures of those. I was really proud of all my work I did in the class. It was really, really fun. We did have a couple assignments throughout the course. We had one big assignment, which was a photo morgue, and we just had to put together a whole bunch of, like a collection of photos that stood for our understanding of makeup. You know, we had to choose different face shapes that we had to know, eye shapes, lip shapes, different seasons of people, like, I don't know, Audrey Hepburn is a winter, you know, that kind of stuff. Yeah, different day makeups, evening makeups. We had to know the difference and what really distinguished between the two. And then throughout the course, we also had little assignments to do that our teacher would hand out and then we would bring back the next day to do. A lot of the course is participation and making sure you're there on time. Making sure your kit is clean, that is a big thing. Some people would show up and their brushes would be dirty, but you would never show up to a job having your brushes dirty, and you know, if you're supposed to start at 10, roll in at 10:05 with like Starbucks in your hand and then set up your kit, you know, you have to be there. Punctuality is huge, like huge, and if you're late once, it's just like, there goes your credibility, you know. So always making sure you're on time is a big, big thing with clean kit, set up nicely. They really enforce that in school. One thing I do have to say is I felt like my instructor wasn't hard enough on some people. I found like there was a lot of wiggle room for a lot of people, and sometimes they didn't speak up when they didn't understand something or they didn't want to learn, but not my education, it's theirs, right? I learned a lot. I loved my instructor. That is all I can say for Makeup Fundamentals so far. I really, really enjoyed it. I know it's just Makeup Fundamentals, so it's like the bare minimum, not the bare minimum, but the fundamental things that you need to know about makeup so you can build on that in different modules like airbrushing or whatever. So that is all I have to say right now. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you can. It's BaileyBeautyXO, and I will see you later. Bye!